All right. As for my next trick, my next video, making a video about, of course, I'm so inspired by being a misanthropic, basement dweller. So things that get me, get my brain going is like Reddit posts at this point, because that's how, it's whatever. I was taking a drive, was visiting my girlfriend, so now I'm taking a drive, and so yeah, I saw a couple posts that have been kind of like, being reposted, retweeted, like on the internet, and people are really they're drooling over it, they're salivating over this, the whole, Gil Scott Heron quote, like, I can't pay my rent, but Whitey's on the moon or whatever, and I think people and the fact that I'm even making a video about it is really disappointing to me, that people need to reiterate the point that it's really not about race at all, and people are using these I saw another post companies talking about diversity, and then it'll show the bottom people is very diverse, and the next step up, but there might be a white woman there, and then the 3 white males with brown hair. That was the thing, and then there's 3 white males and then 1 white male. And that's the whole thing. It's the power structure, and as you get higher in a company, it's really the CEOs or whoever's making the real bucks are the white guys, right? And it's got to be about race, right? And that quote is so old, the Gil Scott Heron quote, as well as this Indian reservation. And I'm not saying that in any of a racist way. I think the guy, he was literally a Native American. Sorry, the term isn't Indian, it's Native American. And I think it was a Native American who wrote a poem or a small thing about, again, 3 Boy Scouts going to the moon while they fly over the ghettos and the reservations or whatever. And see, I don't know what era that was from or what, but these are from eras of I believe at least the one was from early space exploration, with the Russians and the Americans. It was the space race or whatever. And there's also a big distinction with that. I mean, this I could talk about. It's just I'm getting off subject already. It's frustrating because it's back in the day, it was it was kind of a petty space race, right? But we wanted to check out the moon or whatever. And it was America. This spaceship is the America spaceship. This spaceship's the Russian space, Sputnik or whatever. The problem is now it's this is Bezos's spaceship. This is one man's ship. The problem isn't going to space as as the USA is going to space. It really doesn't cost you that much money in tax dollars if everybody, pitches for a spaceship. I think it's kind of stupid, honestly. I don't really see what we're going to learn from going to the moon or whatever. But whatever. The whole point is, our tax dollars. The tax dollars for military spending is way higher than shooting a ship into space. Not that shooting a ship into space doesn't cost a shitload of money, it does, but the problem is, whereas in the past it has been a communal America effort, is now, yes, it is rich billionaires in their little private space race. And on top of it, I believe they did use American tax dollars anyway, but the point I'm trying to get to is there shouldn't be any sort of person with the amount of wealth to be able to, single-handedly blast off on a ship into space. It's just as a country, you should be able to yes, we have a nice space program in our country. We're gonna go explore space, whatever. It's for everyone. The problem is, nobody can do the amount of work, and this is just a fact. And you can argue if late stage capitalism has ruined your thinking, you may think one person can actually efficiently put out value to the point where they can afford a spaceship. But in reality, you being an efficient working human being you're not going to be able to create that much value to be able to buy a spaceship and blast off into space. There's just no way. Even the most successful people, like there's a certain point with capitalism where you are definitely exploiting either the customer or your workers or both. In most cases, it is both, because it's like, again, I've said this so many times. And this whole this work, this late stage capitalism, this efficiency culture where everybody needs to be 1,000% efficient. You know what I mean? Efficiency has gone up so much over the last 100 years. Even it's gone up 2-fold, 3-fold, 4-fold, depending on the industry. And it's like this growth, like this corporate growth, that every company needs all this growth, and they need like 1,000%, returns on whatever. They make a product for $3 and they sell it to you for $80. And it's the same thing with and I'm not trying to demonize McDonald's specifically, because it's a problem with 90% of these companies. But it's back, if you worked at one of the first McDonald's when it first started, I don't know where that was. Maybe it was in Mississippi or wherever, or maybe it was in Ohio. I have no idea where the first McDonald's was. You work in one of the first McDonald's, you'd be making more money than you work at McDonald's now. And there's McDonald's literally all over the world. They made so much money. It's $1 billion company. They made so much money. They expanded all over the globe. You want to work for this powerful company, this $1 billion company? Cool. You're gonna be making minimum wage. Or now they might be incentivizing people with $12. I mean, it's yeah, we're getting there, but not even close, to be honest, with what we should be making with these jobs. And that's the point. Where do you think all that money's going? It's not going to you. It's going to these people who are the higher ups, which is a very, very small percentage of the company, these CEOs and whatever. And it's and they're also, they're churning out burgers for pretty cheap, right? I mean, you get a burger for what now? I mean, the prices have been going up, though. I mean, what is it, $2 now or whatever? And it's and they probably produce them for what? Realistically, 40 cents or something, 30 cents to make a burger. But, the point is, they're ripping somebody off. The fact that a company can even expand in a way that these companies do, just as an example, I'm saying McDonald's. I don't have a specific vendetta against them. There's a lot of companies and corporations that fall under this the sin of it, right? But you're not going to be able to make so much profit that you can expand in a way that these companies do without ripping your employees off. It's just a fact. And no, there's a saying too, and I believe this is a socialist saying, the whole all profit is theft, and that gets a little complicated. I want to, if I immediately and emotionally respond to it, I want to wholeheartedly agree with that, right? Because I've always been a transparent person, and let's be honest, I mean, I've sold stuff in the past, and I probably could have made more money off of it. Let's just say I've sold some green stuff in the past. I wanted to buy a pair of shoes or whatever. I was too nice. When I sell things, I'm too nice. My profit margin whenever I sell things for fun or whatever, which is, I don't do any of that shit. But, if I ever sell something, I buy something and I resell it or whatever, this and that, I'm fine taking whatever, a little tiny bit of money just for basically my efforts, and just getting it to somebody for if they want it and I don't want it, and I'd rather have a few bucks and just sell it and make somebody else happy. I don't really care, But yeah, you don't survive nowadays with that mentality. And the problem is the whole all profit is theft. I mean, to some degree, I think money's important. I mean, the whole, people say money's, the saying, or money, the Jamaican fucking sort of reggae songs, money, 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 root of all evil. And in a lot of ways, yeah, money's, it's evil, right? It's the root of all evil. But at the same time, we really can't realistically keep on a bartering system. Everybody can't be a goddamn orange farmer, apple picker. I have an apple orchard. Oh, I have a grape field. Everybody's not going to be realistically trading fruits all day at the local, town center. And I mean, some people might look at that kind of life and be like, well, why not? That's amazing. That seems like an amazing life. And it's it doesn't sound terrible, don't get me wrong, but it's There does need, but what about seasons, right? So some products are like seasonal, and I know we have ways to kind of keep them for longer and longer and months or whatever, but the whole point is the dollar does serve, not necessarily the American dollar, but currency in general. It serves a purpose as an IOU. So it's like, hey, I'm an Apple guy and you're a pear guy, and I'd like a pear, but not right now. So, you know, let me get one later, so I'll give you an apple, and you can give me, like, you know, one money unit, please, or one currency, and I can trade it to you in, you know, like 3 weeks when I want the pear. And in a system like, in a very simple system where people actually, you know, they reap the rewards of their efforts, and someone's not ripping the workers off, and they're not trying to rip the customers off, there's nothing wrong with currency. There's nothing wrong with like an IOU, because you don't want something immediately. Like, I don't want like bushels of whatever, like grain, like right now. I might need it in like a month or whatever. The problem is like the hoarding of that wealth. It's not even necessarily like, if you break your back all day long, like, you know, farming and then selling vegetable like tomatoes for, you know, a fair price, like, you know, compensate yourself for like whatever you use to produce them. And like, obviously if you're gonna, you know, work all day long, I mean, you should make some sort of profit or whatever, some sort of form of like currency IOU, so you can buy, you know, living stuff later. But the problem is with all this, you know, this corporate expansion and all this shit where they need to make, you know, 1,000% profit, and they need to pay employees absolute slave labor minimum wage, and, you know, and then rip the customers off too, where they make a t-shirt for $1 and they sell it for 40 or whatever, and then they pay the workers, you know, $9 an hour to slang, you know, 80 shirts or whatever they're doing. I mean, I've been in these high-paced, like, minimum wage environments. I've been in multiple. And it's like the amount of, like, it's crazy the amount of profit you'll be making the company, and they reward you with, like, $9. It's, like, insane. Like, it really is kind of justification just to straight up fucking steal from them. It really is. I would just go, I would put it on record, honestly. I have no problem with, like, a minimum wage worker and, like, a large bullshit company just, like, I don't know, maybe stealing a little bit once in a while. Like, they got a pack of straws. Maybe you need straws for your fucking house. Just take some, seriously. Make yourself a sandwich. Eat it in the break room. Who cares? They're fucking stealing from you. It's not stealing. They're stealing from you. You're churning out fucking product for like $9. I'm not saying to get trashy with it. I'm not saying to spit in anyone's food or anything like that. That's absolutely despicable. But it's like, if a company wants to like throw $9 at you and to tell you to kiss their ass and be grateful as you're making them, you know, $30, $40, $50, $60 an hour with what the labor you're doing, then yeah, make yourself a free sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Take the tip money and just pocket it without, you know, putting it on your taxes or whatever, like whatever bullshit system they have. But yeah, I'm getting closer and closer to where I live. But anyway, I wanted to get to this, and I know this is going to sound so bad, but the whole race thing, people need to fuck off with that. And people act like it's like, that's what I was getting at, is like, oh, the diversity and the white people. And look at all these white people having a billionaire space race. It's all these white boys, right, having their little space race. Hey, I'm a white guy. I'm not doing so good, right? I know a ton of white people who are working in those Amazon factories, and the Frito-Lay is thing that just, you know, the workers are on strike, you know? There's a ton of white people that work there. It has nothing to do with, like, race at this point at all. And the people who, they're kind of like pawns. The people who are making it about race are, unfortunately, it is propaganda being fed to you, because they know, the higher-ups, the 1%, and these billionaires, they know. They'd rather have the lower classes fighting about race than the class solidarity that we need. See, the whole, like, worker solidarity, you hear about this worker solidarity, like class solidarity. Don't worry about race at all. It has nothing to do with race at this point. The only time it ever has anything to do with race is when somebody's like, look at this white guy shooting himself off into the moon. Like, who cares? And how many are there? How many billionaire white guys are there in the space race? Like 3 or 4? Is there like 3? wow, that's an astronomically low percentage of America, you know what I mean? And the one guy's British, right? So it's like, and what about all the other white people? Would it make it better if they're all black guys with afros? That's the thing, it's like I'm like trying to be racist and thinking like, if it was 3 black guys, like, man, I'd hate that more as a white person, right? But like, it's like, even when I'm trying to think as a white guy, like, man, would it just really grind my gears if it was 3 black dudes, like in a billionaire space race? See, there's a lot of people that are probably like these new age, this academia propaganda machine, you know, built by the fucking billionaires. They want you to say like, yeah, it would be better. It wouldn't be any fucking better. The problem is that there's 3 super billionaires that exploited their workers, that exploited customers. And it's more about exploiting the workers really than the customers. But although I would actually even argue that small businesses probably exploit the customer more than the large companies. Large companies can kind of afford to, you know, hold their breath and bleed for longer or whatever. They can afford. It's kind of like Walmart. People talk about, you know, Walmart prices because it's a bigger company, it's a bigger store. They can afford to order things in more bulk, and then they can afford to, you know, sell it a little bit cheaper. And a lot of that's too because they pay their employees bad and whatever, and they can pass the savings along to you, the 10 cents or whatever. I mean, it's all a sham. I mean, the electronic piece of shit you bought was made for $4 and they sell it for, you know, 80 or whatever. And Walmart buys it for, you know, whatever, 45. And I don't know exactly how. I'm not going to claim to know exactly the percentages. But the problem isn't race. That's the thing. This is truly what the ignorant people want you to believe. As fucking hundreds of thousands of black, Asian, Native American, Spanish, white people, they're all like suffering right now. They're working shitty jobs because they have nowhere else to turn. They will be out on the street. They can't live with their family. They don't come from a wealthy family. They're gonna just be like shit out of luck. Maybe they have a family they have to support, and they take the only jobs they can. That's really unfortunate. And there's a lot of white people in that situation too. So I don't like seeing this because it's off subject. It's getting off issue, and it's a bit offensive. Not because I'm white. It is because I'm white, right? And it kind of emotionally gets me to see like, oh, bad white people. Oh no, they're the ones doing so good. Man, I'm not doing that good. I know a shitload of people who aren't doing that good. The problem is that it's getting off subject, and you're falling into their trap. You're eating out of their hand like a farm animal. They want you to make it about race. You, the lower middle class man who thinks he's a middle class guy, you know, the whatever, the lower class, the working class, the blue collar, even the middle class, they want us to be eating each other alive and be talking about race when it is so rarely about race at this point. And it's more about this system, this meat grinder, late stage capitalist system exploiting everyone, exploiting the worker, exploiting the fucking buyer for the very small percentage up top, reaping the profit, stealing from you, stealing from the worker. And yes, right, in most cases, this incredibly small percentage of people is white. But I don't see, like, does that benefit me? And does that benefit me because they're white and I'm white? I mean, are they sending me money in the mail? That white, hey, you're white, bro. Let's clap hands. Bump it, bro. You're white too. I'm sending to all my white boys out there. Is Bezos shooting money to all the white boys off in space? No. It'd be a problem if he was fucking black. It'd be a problem if he was a Spanish guy or Mexican or whatever the proper term. I don't know. Fucking, what if he came from the Honduras or whatever? What if he's a Hawaiian guy? What if he's an Eskimo? Who cares? The problem is there's there's a problem. There's people in America with like $100 billion, which is impossible to earn. It is, frankly, it is impossible to earn that fairly. It is impossible. Even with like a great tech breakthrough, you invented something, no one is going to earn like $100 billion without ripping somebody off. That's the problem. It's not the race of anyone. It's the problem that there's a few people who have ripped everyone off. And it's not just the poster children either. People put, because it's an easy target, people say, oh, Bezos, oh, Elon sucks, and Bezos sucks. I mean, yeah, they suck, right? They suck. Everybody knows they suck. But it's all these other companies too. They also suck. Stop shopping on Amazon. Stop shopping stop shopping as much as you're shopping. Don't make shopping a hobby. That's really a huge problem. Don't make shopping a hobby. Don't go out every weekend spending $100 or whatever you spend to, like, you know, drown your sorrows. Just stop drowning your sorrows getting a new $100 outfit or whatever you're buying, or the new electronic you absolutely need, or this bullshit you absolutely need. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what you absolutely need if you kind of like give yourself a break. Go cold turkey from being a mindless consumer for a couple weeks, and you'll realize, like, once in a while, I'm not even saying don't buy anything ever, but once in a while, like, you really want something, like, man, I really like a nice pair. This is a recent example for me. I'm going to buy like a navy blue pair of pants, and they're going to be like $20, $25. And before that, I don't remember the last thing I bought. Like, it might have been 3 weeks ago. I think I brought some protein powder, but, like, there's people who make it a hobby just to, like, shop. And that's not good. That's an issue, because you're continuing, you're propagating the absolute meat grinder, the system. You think if we can't starve these companies out, I know they get bailouts, but you think the government's going to bail them out forever? They're going to bail them out forever and ever, even though their sales have gone down by 80% in the last, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I know bailouts are real, but it's like, it's a lifestyle. They say it about everything. I'm not talking about, like, we're going to show them, don't shop on Amazon for one day. No, people need to change their, like, mindset. Don't go, like, consuming just because you're empty inside. Don't, like, shop because you're empty inside and bored. That's the mindset of somebody who drinks too much. It's the mindset of a drug addict. But it's like, it's acceptable when you're drinking your fucking third cup of coffee in the day and shopping on Amazon, and you racked up $300 for the week on Amazon, right? It's not like, you're not ruining life. It's the same thing with the whole environment thing. That could be another video. I know it's big. That's the big, like, ruse, right? They're blaming people because they didn't recycle their plastic fucking straws, and that's why the world's on fire or whatever. And I'm not saying you shouldn't take responsibility and you shouldn't recycle as a person, but it's this toxic smog being fucking thrown out in the environment by these massive companies and shit. The whole point is, it's a lifestyle change, and you want these companies to crash and burn. You want change to happen. I mean, it's amazing what a strike will do, right? But if America in general decided to just have a lifestyle change, stop shopping because they're fucking miserable, once in a while, buy yourself something. That's fine. I'm not saying to never buy yourself. I'm not saying to go pitch pitch a tent in your backyard and let your house fucking crumble and never buy anything ever again. But it's like, do you really want it? Do you really need it? That's the whole, you should just ask yourself that. Like, do I really need this, like, stupid, like, t-shirt? Do I really need this, like, gadget, whatever, that this eighth thing I bought, that I rebought this eighth, I have the same thing 6 different times. I have like 9 different, like, kitchen spoons or something from a great brand that's really expensive, or whatever your shit is, like appliances or anything. It's like, do I really need it? Like, yeah, you probably want a toaster, right? You probably want a fucking oven. You probably want some clothes to wear, but, like, that's the people get so lost in all this, like, as soon as they stop spending, they, like, don't know, like, what to do. And, like, human beings, they're just meant to, like, communicate. They're meant to talk to each other. They're meant to, like, yes, once in a while they can have a drink or whatever, or, like, have a smoke or whatever. I'm not trying to shame people because they have, like, hobbies. It's like, yeah, go do your hobby. But if it's costing you a shitload of money, like, every week or every month, like, you really need to, like, consider, like, how much that is propagating the fucking meat grinder that is, late stage capitalism right now. Because, yeah, they would crash and burn. These companies would crash and burn if there was a lifestyle change for Americans. It's just that, not to be too big of a conspiracy theorist, I do actually kind of think there is this, like, subtle, almost brainwash. It's the same thing with the class solidarity thing and, like, race. Like, race is, it's an issue. And who's it an issue to? I don't know anybody. I mean, maybe you live in a more racist area, but I don't really know anyone that, like, race is, like, an issue. But like for some reason it keeps coming up again and again online. It keeps like it's like the media, like you know this like the media is constantly trying to scare you, and it's like the race thing keeps coming up and like really specific like sect with the what is that? There's with the CT, like it's like specific sectors of society, like online and like in like like overeducated, like over like people who spend too much and in academia making these like academic papers and shit discussing like race and whatever, and it's like, okay, that I guess there's a place for it, right? But like it's not an issue. It's like I don't even know, sorry, I should have just ended it. We need to come together and just we need a lifestyle change, and there is, and this is what I was talking about. I do think there is like this like kind of like subtle brainwashing, and it happens all the time. I mean, if you think companies don't have departments, and I've said this before, if you think they don't hire somebody or like teams of people specifically, like this color here, and this flashing thing here, and the letters have to be this big, and we're gonna have an attractive woman behind it, and like a smiling attractive man who's has tan skin, and he's got a perfect crushed white smile and Listerine breath, and you know what I mean. And they do all this, it's like they make everything so like sexy and addictive, and the dopamine and the serotonin, and they get it going in your brain, and it's like a chemical reaction. And I do think we are kind of brainwashed to think a certain way, and I think we're beaten down a lot too, where like they don't want to cultivate creativity. They don't want to cultivate just people hanging out. Like we're going to get together and just hang out and talk and joke around, because that's all it really comes down to at the end of the day, right? And that's the same thing with everything. It's such a dumb example, but it's kind of true. Here's a great example. Here's a great stupid example, if that makes any sense. Back in the day, iTunes, and this is how many years ago now, user-created mixes, right? Used to be user-created mixes in iTunes. Like, you liked a song? Wow, I really, really like this song. Let's look at what other real people, what kind of like lists of music they have my favorite song in, or this song I really like, and let's discover new music that way. Let's like, and it's like almost like a social thing. Like you can make cool like mixes and have people listen to them, and people can discover music, and it was awesome. And it's like they get rid of stuff like that. It's really weird, and it's like it's like decades later, and it's like 2021. It's the fucking future, and like robots are gonna like start doing their jobs any day now, right? Unless they artificially prevent it, right? Because we need a working slave class. It'd be terrible, and that's the whole thing going on too. It'd be terrible if fucking robots started doing our jobs, right? It'd be terrible. It'd be terrible if backbreaking like fucking warehouse like factory work, where a human being is like just doing for fucking hours, like backbreaking work. It'd be terrible if a robot did that job, right? Because how are they gonna earn a living? What slave labor is that factory worker gonna do now? Is he going to be sucking the CEO's dick all day? They're just going to line up, sucking their dick, fucking in a line? So that's what it's going to be, right? I mean, we have these billionaires in a space race now. It'll be pretty soon. They're going to be just, you're going to get gassed unless you line up to give me fellatio, and that'll be the fucking, it's a dystopia. It's disgusting, and it's actually really sad, and it's really frightening that a serious conversation I've heard multiple times from my generation, people who are, you know, in their mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, you know, early 30s, mid-30s, and this is a serious discussion. Even teenagers, basically, like I hear, you know, 20-year-olds talk about this, but it's a serious discussion when people talk about OnlyFans. Like, that's a really, really viable, like, great, way to make money, a good prospect. And I'm not saying you can't make like decent money with stuff like that, but it's like, it's really sad where like this, it's like altered carbon that show, it's like a dystopia. It's like a fucking sci-fi dystopia where like the bottom dwellers with our shanty town and our fucking tarps, like pretty soon the entire US is going to be fucking, it's going to be what's that, Skid Row or whatever. Every state, every place in America is just going to be Skid Row. And then there's going to be massive towers shooting into the clouds where the rich, you know, the Bezoses and Elon Musks of the world, they live in above the fucking smog clouds, and they get the sunshine, living their fucking luxurious lifestyle, their really expensive lifestyle, their gold-plated steaks and whatever, their gold-dusted fucking shit. You know, every meal costs $1,000, and every shit costs, you know, $100 and whatever. While the bottom feeders are, you know, they're taking pictures of their dicks and selling porn to each other and doing whatever they can to get by. I mean, that's like the start of it, right? I mean, that's a very, and I'm not trying to bash the people talking about OnlyFans. Like, it's kind of just, it's terrible that, like, this is becoming more and more of a serious conversation with, like, people who are literally in school, like, to be, like, fucking, like, people getting, like, 4-year, 6-year degree, like, people are talking about, like, they're getting, like, degrees, and they're talking about, like, OnlyFans, like, how they can make money, like, selling, like, pictures of their fucking feet and, like, their vaginas and dicks and shit. Seriously. They're going to sell the rich people their dick pics, and they're going to sell each other our dick pictures while the rich people live their lavish lifestyles. And it's like, that's just the start. It doesn't seem like that now, but right? I mean, these sci-fi shit, the sci-fi shows you watch, like, that might be like life in like another 15 years. Like, it might literally be like towers shooting off into the smog clouds as we're like, hold on, I gotta take a picture of my junk real quick, sell that for $10 so I can eat some noodles for dinner. Like, it's literally, we're gonna be like bums. Just like the robots will take all our fucking jobs, the billionaires will reap all of the, efficiency and reward from that. We're gonna be stuffed out, and we're either gonna be gassed or we're gonna just be scraping by, exploiting each other. Like, there'd be like weird like S&M clubs for the fucking billionaires to whip us, and we're taking pictures of our fucking genitals and whatever we get by, stealing a fucking melon, and then the fucking robot cops fucking scan us with their fucking lasers. There's cameras everywhere and shit. Fucking voice activated, fucking face activated every time you walk in somewhere. And I'm not directing this at any political party. I'm directing it at the fact that, like, it is a disgusting fucking system and then the people making the decisions let it go on because they have their fingers in it, because they're part of it. So I don't know. Can it not change? It can change if we band together, if we come together. Step 1, stop buying stupid shit. Step 1, stop being a consumer as a hobby. That really is the issue. Try to expand your mind. Talk, like, it sounds so, like, nerdy. It sounds so, like, neckbeardy, but, like, talk about, like, philosophy. Talk about psychology. Do art. Like, do, like, comedy. Tell a joke to your friends. Get good at storytelling. Like, be good at just socializing. Be, like, an outgoing, socializing, pro-social person who doesn't need to go out and spend $300 on the weekend to, like, make yourself feel better. Just go out and, like, hang out. Maybe try to make a friend. As long as it doesn't cost too much money. Start up a conversation in a coffee shop, whatever. I know it's kind of weird. Oh, God, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because, like, they want it to be weird. I know it sounds so conspiracy-ish, but they really do. They want you to be a miserable, mindless fucking cow. And that's the same thing with society is going in the direction of, I really gotta wrap the video up. Going in the direction of everything's gonna be monetized soon, right? BlackRock's buying up houses, so everybody's gonna be renting soon. And I know, I'm right. It's maybe not in the next 5 years, but I'm just saying that's really what these companies want. It's what these corporations want. They want you to be paying subscription for everything. They want you to be paying rent every month, subscription this, for video games subscription, for music subscription, for your package service coming to your door subscription, phone subscription, pretty soon food. I swear to God, mark my words on this, actually. I don't know, it probably already started, right? I know there's meal plans, they send them to your door, whatever. But I bet it'll be more mainstream. Mark my words on this one. Next 5 years or so, more mainstream subscription, like, food services where they'll mail you, like, every meal. Like, a package will come to your door every meal. Like, you won't even know how to cook anymore. You won't need to shop. They'll send you all your food. There'll be, like, instructions, or maybe you just pop it in, heat it up or whatever. Like, your food is going to be, I know it in a way it is almost like subscription. You got to keep going to the grocery store and buying it, whatever. But I'm just saying, everybody wants you on this, like, this payment. They want your business. They want your payment every fucking month, like one company, right? Hey, this orange or this orange, this, right? This is a better price and this is a higher quality. No, they just want you on their fucking subscription plans with everything, and pretty soon you're going to be paying, right? And that's the whole thing. You're not going to own anything, and you'll love it, and everything's going to be subscription based. I'm not saying there's anything like, it's like, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do with music? Buy all your music? I mean, what if you only like, what if you like a ton of music? You don't want to buy all your music. You don't want to spend $100 every month on music. Maybe Spotify is good, right? I like Spotify. I have Spotify. But it's like, just be careful, right? Because I think it is a common theme that, like, that's really where the money's at, right? That's where the money is at for these corporations. Why sell a product for $40 when they can sell it for $20 a month, right? For the next 3 fucking years. And and then it adds up. You don't realize. That's the thing. You don't fucking realize. So keep that down to a minimum too. With all these like TV shows, like, don't get me wrong, it's like, you're a person, you want to watch a TV show once in a while. Just maybe get the one that you really want. Maybe get the one subscription TV show service you really want. If you really need two, maybe get two. But it's like, it's the whole thing, right? That's the problem too. It's like, I hate to have an all or nothing mindset, and I hate to have like, I'm gonna go live in the fucking woods mindset, but the line quickly keeps moving and moving and moving, and that's the whole problem with profits as well, because it started at like, hey, I don't mind making 15%, and then maybe 20%, right? And these guys, and then how are we gonna get the 20%? Well, we're gonna pay our employees $1 less now, and we're gonna kind of rip the customer off a little bit more too now, right? So we got to make 25% profits now, and pretty soon it turns into like we have to make 300% profit on this product, right? And it's like it just keeps going and going with people, right? So it's like change your mindset, change the way you live. Be more earthly, be more social. I know that sounds like I'm not a hippie. It sounds hippie-ish, but it's like, just enjoy someone's company. Enjoy just joking around with your friends without having to buy things with them. Once in a while, buy things with them. Once in a while, if you want to get coffee with them. Once in a while, you want to go to the bar with them, have some drinks, whatever. Once in a while, you want to go to the fucking mall and get like a t-shirt or whatever, your fucking pair of shoes, like whatever. How many pairs of shoes do you have? 5 pairs? You probably don't need a pair of shoes. That's all I'm saying. Don't make buying shit a hobby. Make hanging out and being social the hobby. Make trying to be a pro-social person a hobby. Not buying shit. That's it.